If you love America, you're among friends here.
You're tuned in to Rebooting Liberty.
Have you ever wanted to have your own radio show? Rebooting Liberty Radio Network currently has openings for live programs. For a very small fee, we will create a show intro, bumper music, and provide technical production for your hour-long show. Email producer@rebootingliberty.com for details. You can find us at live.rebootingliberty.com.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
choose to respect it or choose to infect it. But once it hits the water, it's too late to be selective. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith, and one restart.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson. This is America Off the Rails. And yeah, we're starting things a little bit differently than we usually do, but I needed this tonight, so I'm figuring some of you probably did too. It's been a hard week to be a conservative, so we're going to do a little bit of a recap of Friday night here in America, right here on America Off the Rails. Because the simple fact of the matter is, I don't know about you guys, but I've been called every name in the book this week because I don't want people that we don't know who they are and what their intentions are flooding into our country. I have a big problem with that. Our president doesn't seem to have a very big problem with that. But before we get into the show, wanted to give everybody just a quick heads up because we were starting things a little differently. Yes, this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. Want to give a big shout out to Miss Stacy Lennox, who shared that song with me about 20 minutes ago. Because honestly, I'm just going to be honest, I have felt beaten up all week. I'm not going to lie. I've stood my ground, I've fought the fight, but every time I turn around, I'm being called every name in the book because I care more about the people that are inside of our borders than the ones that are outside of our borders. And somehow that's made me feel like a monster. I've bought into the hype. I've bought into the nightmare. And I know some of you have too. So we're going to talk about that tonight. But before we do, I want to give a quick shout out to all the affiliates because Lord knows we had more every single day. The first ones, of course, are the network that I built, the Spark Radio Network, the station that partnered with the network that is I am partnered with a friend of mine through, which is K98 Talk, which is available on both .com and .org, as well as the TuneIn server. Then we also have the very first place that ever picked us up, which was AMFM247.com, which is a live stream broadcast on the internet that also has 8 low-power web-based stations. Then we also, of course, have iHeartRadio. Now, that is more of a podcast feature. They haven't figured out how to catch the live streams yet, but we are also available there. Then we have SHR Media, where the show can be heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 Eastern. Oh, and I forgot, AMFM 24/7 is 1 Eastern. Then the next ones to pick us up were SHR, which is the one we just talked about. Then we had Red State Talk Radio, where the show can be heard every Sunday at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. We have been doing a first run only over there for the last few weeks, so we have been getting up kind of early to do all that. So fun times, fun times. And then, of course, we have Leading Edge Radio Network, where the show can typically be heard every Monday through Friday. I believe it's 8 Eastern, 7 Central. They run on Central Time like me, so sometimes I get confused over there because everywhere else I have to give it out as Eastern Time. Then we have High Point Radio out of Montauk, New Jersey, another low-power station. Great group of folks over there. They play lots of different content. We happen to be among them. And then, of course, the crown jewel of our... pardon me. It's going to be one of those nights, I guess. Crown jewel of our current affiliates has got to be WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia, where for the moment this show is heard every Thursday at 2 Eastern. We are in negotiation for possibly doing some more, but so far we haven't been able to nail all that down. All right, so at this point we are going to take a quick break, pay some bills, and then we'll be back with the official start of the show, where we can vent, we can talk, we can hang out, we can chat. It'll be fun, I promise. Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree hugging, hippie, free to be you and me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and it is Friday night in America. We're actually probably going to start a new segment on Friday nights where we just kind of do a weekly recap of everything that's happened. So if you missed the week's episodes, we spent quite a bit of time with Patrick this week. He hung out on Tuesday and Wednesday night and actually spent the day around WNJC on Thursday. So lots of archive stuff to check out there with Patrick. I don't think that one, actually, no, I take that back. I think we didn't, because that was the one I was going to air tonight, sorry. And then we wound up having a guest cancel on us last night, or reschedule, not cancel, so I wound up running a replay last night, but not the one I had intended for tonight. Which is good, because tonight wound up not being a good night for a replay anyway, because like I said, I don't know about the rest of you, but we're just going to have a conversation for a little bit tonight, because I don't know about you, but I've about thrown my hands up in the air about 15 different times over the past few days, basically since last Friday. You know, we heard the president say that ISIS was contained. Tell everybody in front of the world, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, folks, we have them contained. Here's the thing that Obama doesn't want to consider when it comes to ISIS, because he refuses to recognize them as being a state at this point, but quite frankly and quite honestly, that is exactly what they are, if nothing else, in their own minds, because they only adhere to Sharia law. One of the things that makes a state through the Quran and Sharia law is the ability to hold on to and maintain land. So by Obama stating that, you know, we're not going to do anything but keep them contained, we're not going to attack them, we're not going to do this, whether he knows it or not, and I think on some level he knows it, he just doesn't think that we know it, he's basically giving them state the status of state, whether he wants to formally recognize it or not, because he's allowing them to continue to hold on to, regulate, manage, and maintain a landmass. There's a reason that we keep telling you that Islam is not your normal religion. It is not just a religion. It is a system of government. A completely outlined, self-sustained system of government. It is not just a religious belief system. And I don't know about you, but I'm so tired of all the people that start talking about how Allah is just another word for God in another language. If you've spent any time actually taking the time to read the Quran, it is the scariest book on earth. And if I have any moderate Muslims listening right now, I officially apologize to you. I mean, absolutely no offense to you. I don't know if the Bible is as scary to you as the Quran is to me, but your book makes absolutely no sense. And the more I study about how you're supposed to read and understand the book, it makes even less sense, because nothing is apparently in any type of chronological order, and to certain sects of your religion, the books in the back are more important than the books in the front, and they're not necessarily in any given order either. But let's get back to the president for a second, because not only has he basically just told ISIL, yeah, we're just not going to worry about you. As far as I'm concerned, the rest of the American public is concerned about you. I'm not. I told you months ago that as far as I'm concerned, the JV team when it comes to terrorist groups. Oh, so what? So you took responsibility for blowing up a plane in Russia, and you had the most well-organized and most widely ranging terror attack since 9/11. But hey, you're still a JV team, right? Come on. How much more damage could you possibly do? And then he says stuff like this. This little clip that we have right here that I'm going to go ahead and play because it just annoys me.
These are the same folks oftentimes who suggest that they're so tough that just talking to Putin or staring down ISIL or using some additional rhetoric somehow is going to solve the problems out there. But apparently they're scared of widows and orphans coming into the United States of America as part of our tradition of compassion. First they were worried about the press being too tough on them during debates. Now they're worried about 3-year-old orphans. That doesn't sound very tough to me. They've been playing on fear in order to try to score political points or to advance their campaigns. And it's irresponsible. And it's contrary to who we are. And it needs to stop because the world is watching.
Okay, so common sense is contrary to who we are. Is that pretty much what the president just said? And let me explain to you why I'm saying that he basically just told you that common sense is contrary to who we are as American citizens at this point in time in our history. Because let's be real for a second. Let's bring things down to a micro level so that everybody understands it. Your house is your own personal country. You decide what happens within the borders of your house. You decide how you're going to protect and defend your house. You decide how you're going to support your house. You decide who you're going to let in your house. Do you lock your house at night when you go to sleep? Do you leave your doors and your windows wide open, hoping that everybody and anybody who wants to come in is going to be able to come in, eat your food, sleep on your couch, run up your electricity bill? No, you do not. This is the same argument we've been using for government spending for forever. We need to go back to running the government as if it were a single household. If you can't afford to buy something, then you don't buy it. It's pretty simple. Our borders basically work the same way. We want secure windows and doors so that we can let the people in that we want to come visit us, that we can let the people in. If we decide to take in roommates to continue the narrative, we want to be able to have them come in, but we don't want every person that is outside of our home to be able to come into our home because we don't know the intentions of everyone who is out there. There is a reason your car has locks on it, on the doors, and you can roll up and roll down your windows. There's a reason your house has locks on the doors and the windows Because you don't want anyone and everyone to be able to come in and make themselves at home in the house that you're working to pay for. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. I know I say that a lot, but every time I start saying that line, it's what starts running through my head. But anyway, that's my point. None of this that we're currently seeing unfold makes any sense to me. And to tell you and show you exactly how topsy-turvy it is, in a second, I have a clip of Tingles. You know, the guy that plays on my promo that always talks about that thrill that he had go up his leg when he heard Obama talk for the first time. He's not so thrilled with Obama anymore, specifically over this issue. And I never thought I would ever say this out loud, so I'm just going to say it now because I'm possibly going to throw up in my mouth a little bit when I do. For once, I agree with Chris Matthews. As scary as that is to say, and as hard as it is to believe, it is a flat-out true statement. And I'm hoping you're going to agree with him too. But let's have a listen.
Let me finish tonight with two numbers that don't make sense, certainly not when you put them together. The first number is 4. That's the number of Syrians we Americans have recruited and trained to fight ISIS. Hold on to that number 4, because now comes the huge question mark that comes with the other number. That other number is 4 million. That's how many Syrian refugees there are, 4 million, including all those able-bodied men we've seen aboard those boats to Europe. So why the strange, unexplained difference in these numbers? 4 million people fleeing ISIS and Assad, and just 4 trained to regain their country. Is there just 1 in a million Syrians willing to fight for Syria? Is that the deal? Is it? Would just 1 in a million Americans be willing to fight for our country if it were taken from us? If it came to that? There are dread implications to these numbers. They signal that ISIS is not only winning this war for Syria, they're taking the country from people who would rather leave for the West. Either that, or no one in the United States is out there doing something to alter their decision-making. We talk, don't you hear it, relentlessly about how ISIS recruits its members worldwide, how it uses social media. Why aren't the fleeing people of Syria doing that? Why isn't the United States and other countries trying to build a Syrian army of the millions of people who have a birthright to fight for that country? Some said here last night that we can't ask Syrians to fight for their country because they have families. Well, tell that to the American families, those we care most about, who have a member of their family on their 4th deployment right now. When we went in to liberate Paris, we had elements of the Free French Army fighting alongside us. Is it too much to ask that the Syrians lead the fight to retake Syria? It is their country, unless they're willing to abandon it. And what do we think of people who do that? And besides, even if we, the United States and other European armies, overthrew ISIS, we still have to turn Syria over to somebody. If we had Syrians playing their rightful part in the liberation of their country, they would be the ones taking it over. And that's hardball for now. Thanks for being with us. All In with Chris Hayes starts right now.
All right, so there you heard probably one of the only times I will ever say this in my life, but Chris Matthews actually having a cogent, well thought out, and very well articulated argument about why we shouldn't be the ones leading the fight. And an even better question of why all of these Syrians are leaving their country in droves. We have 4 people. 4! Which means 1 in every million Syrian has stood up and said, I will fight for my country. Why do we need them here? Why do we want them here if 1 in every million is willing to fight for their own homeland? Why do we want them here? Why do we need them here? A better question is, while Obama's taking his pot shot about widows and orphans, why is it that the vast majority of these Syrian refugees are between the ages of 1835 and male? You know, where are those 3-year-old orphans that Obama was, touting that the GOP was saying that we didn't need and we didn't want because we're evil, hate-mongering bastards? And this one's not regulated, folks, so I may get a little heated. This is not the one that'll go over to WNJC. It is likely not the one that will go out to AM/FM 24/7. So we're late at night. If there are children listening, I do encourage you to possibly listen at a later time so that you can control the volume. But Sorry, this has been about a week's worth of build-up here because I've just had it. I'm done with it. When are we going to take the fight to these nozzles? And no, Trigger, put your gun down. That's not what I meant. Come on, brother. It's not that time yet. I'll let you know when it is. Just playing. Well, I don't know. Probably. It will be probably somebody like me who lets you know when it is, but now's not that time. But this is the point. When are we going to attack them on their own narratives? Because you know the other thing that I'm really tired of hearing about every single day is how the Native Americans did not stop the Europeans from coming into their country. Do you idiots that have never bothered to crack a history book not understand that the main reason why we put the immigration laws in place that we put in place was to keep something like that from happening again? Because we are an actual people with a conscience, and we look back at some of the things that have happened in our history and went, you know, that really wasn't our best moment. We should probably make sure that there are laws in place to make sure those type of things can't happen again. And we're about to throw them out the window based on guilt and feels and pressure from the government who says that we have to be a kind, caring, compassionate people. Since when does being a kind, caring, compassionate person mean that you have to be willing to lay down your life for perfect strangers? I'm just asking. Like I said, this is just us talking. We're being real because I've been wrapped up in this stuff all week, and I need a second to be real. I need a second to understand it. So hopefully those of you that are right here with me are asking the same kind of questions I'm asking. Because look, I've done the work. I've put my life on the line for people that I don't know. That should be a choice. That's why we don't draft people anymore. That's why we don't conscript people into the police forces. Because we want people to make choices. Because there are people, again, I've said it before, there are basically three types of people in the world. There are wolves, there are sheep, and there are sheepdogs. Some people are born to be sheepdogs. They're the ones that try to keep people safe, that try to keep them basically going between the lines and doing the things that they need to do, while at the same time keeping them safe and protecting them from the wolves. Then there are the people that would much rather just be told what to do every single day and where to go and what to do and what to eat and what to wear. And a good portion of the population are like those. But then we have the wolves. How many of these Syrian refugees would be counted amongst the wolves if we really had any way to tell? And before anybody tells me again that I'm being a xenophobe because I'm afraid of Islam, let me tell you why I'm afraid of Islam, and I will legitimately tell you that I am afraid of Islam. I don't hide that fact from you. I don't hide behind it. I don't shirk from it. I tell you truthfully that I do not respect, condone, or understand a religion that tells its people that it's okay to lie in order to protect your own safety, or worse, to be able to affect the death of your enemy. I have a problem with that. See, here's the thing. All the liberals out there, they want to, you only have a problem with this because you don't understand history. You don't understand the way things were, Rick. That's why you have such a problem. You're just one of these ignorant Cro-Magnon Neanderthal conservatives who just thinks everybody's just evil. No, I'm not. I'm a person that looks at the world and can connect the dots. Because no matter how many people there are that are good, kind, and wonderful, there are always those few out there that are going to try to do you harm. And with ISIS, we get all of that rolled into this nice little ball of religious hate. And I'm sorry, further back to Chris Matthews' point, why can the folks that are moderate Muslims not deal with their crazies? We deal with the Westboro Baptist folks on a regular basis. We Christians, we rise up and say, you are not a part of our church. As far as we are concerned, you should go away. I have helped organize counter-protests. Our stations have been involved in organizing counter-protests when things happened in our reach and our broadcast area to make sure that people could not be a part of the Westboro protest and cause harm or injury emotionally or physically to folks that were somewhere for a funeral. So don't you tell me that I don't understand it. Because what I don't understand, what I truthfully do not understand, is all of you out there that are telling me that we have to do this to be kinder, compassionate people. Where did common sense go? Even in an airplane, when the cabin depressurizes, no one tells you put your mask on your child first and then put your mask on you. They first tell you that you have to take care of yourself first in order to be able to best make sure that your children are safe. So why is it that when everything that we are taught, from wearing a seatbelt to a helmet, to lifting with your legs, to looking both ways when you cross the street, is designed for self-preservation, to make sure that we are safe, healthy, and happy, that as a group we have to throw every single thought of that out the window? Not because we want to, but because we're told we have to. Again, I understand there are plenty of people out there that will take the role of sheepdog and they will run with it and they will relish in it, and it is what they have always felt they needed to do. I understand this. I happen to be one of those people. I understand the mindset. I understand how it works. And I would be the first one, because I've done it before. Kicking in a door with a partner. Knocking on a door for a house that was on fire. Making sure somebody got up. I've done those things. I don't just talk about them. I've done them. Because it's who I am. But nobody's allowed to see that, because as soon as we start saying, look, can we focus on maybe the out-of-work homeless veterans that are living on the streets right now, instead of taking in even more people from a country where, whether we want to admit it or not, a good portion of their folks actually want to wipe us off the map. Does it make me evil and hateful because I want to put veterans first? You know, those sheepdog folks that we were talking about, most of which don't come home okay, have issues, wake up in cold sweats, still hear their buddies screaming. You know, we can't do anything for them, but we can help these supposed refugees who won't even turn around and fight for their own country. I mean, come on, we have made fun of the French for less. At least there was a segment of the French population who fought with us to retake their country when the time came. We have been able to muster a total of 4 Syrians to retake their country. The rest of them are coming here in droves, leaving their women and children behind, no less, and coming here in droves. So you tell me, why are they really here? Why are they really here? We'll talk about that when we get back, because we've still got about half the show left. Got to take a really quick break. Got to pay some bills. Before I do, want to give a quick shout out again to concealandcarry.net. Sorry, it's been a while since I've given anybody any verbal shout outs, so I'm a little bit out of practice. But anyway, so concealandcarry.net. They are the premier access if you're looking for everything to do with equipment, training, and classes for conceal and carry. So feel free to look them up anytime you choose. You can find them really easy. Put the word conceal, the letter N, the word carry.net in a web browser, hit enter, and next thing you know, you'll be there. Pick the state you live in, and the rest will be taken care of for you. They will give you a list of the places that are near you with the services that they offer, and you can check them out at any given time. Right there on that great little invention we like to call the interwebs. Now, while I'm on break, since it's a Friday night, I'm going to grab myself a beverage. So why don't you do that? We'll be right back here in about 4 minutes.
Red Nation.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
These uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
K98Talk.com, a leader in Internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of libertative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote.
Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wake up, America.
The biggest threat in those days were from factions seizing control of the governing apparatus and making decisions that were in their interests. Today, we call factions political parties. George Washington himself warned the nation about the dangers of factions in his farewell address.
Office Hours with Dr. A, 3 p.m. on Sundays, K98 Talk. We've got something to say to you, America.
Calls, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, bless you, pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets.
All right, folks. Well, some of you may know my show's been on WNJC 1360 AM for about a month now. JD and Stacy from Game On have beat me over there. I just want to make another official announcement. You guys may have heard the show that now airs with us on Sunday, Office Hours. Their promo just aired a moment ago. So I want to make the official announcement. The Spark Radio Network and the Conservative Commando Radio Network are teaming up on WNJC. We now have 3 slots a week over there and are looking to expand even more. So now we have content from the Spark also that you hear on K98 Talk, airing over there 3 times a week. We now have Tuesday at 5 Eastern, Thursday at 2, and Friday at 5, with hopefully more content coming soon. So just wanted to give everybody a quick nudge, let you know what it is that you're helping us do here at both the Spark Radio Network, K98 Talk, and all of the places that play our shows everywhere. We couldn't do this without you, and I do not say that enough. Now, as promised, we have another clip, and this one actually starts out with Gutfield talking about the same thing pretty much that Matthews has been talking about from a slightly different perspective, and then, of course, Juan Williams had to lay in. This one is going to be a little bit longer, so we're going to go ahead and cue it up now and get it played and out of the way so we can spend the rest of the show talking about it.
We have just witnessed a horrible event, and we're trying to make a decision for ourselves. How do we protect our families? Perhaps if we told the president that ISIS had a high carbon footprint, he would hate ISIS more than he hates Republicans. Or perhaps maybe he could blame the shooting in Paris on the Eagles of death metal, which would be just like blaming a video on Benghazi. The solution, I believe, is if you're going to close Gitmo and you want to take people in and you do not have the facilities there to vet, create sanctuary cities, sanctuary spaces. Missouri, use the dorms. If that's how you feel, if you think that if we're selfish because we're worried about our loved ones, then you take them in. You take them in. The way I look at the way I look at this immigration thing. It's almost like breaking up with somebody without getting into, because you don't want to be committed. We're just telling Syria, look, we like you and everything, but we're just not ready for it yet. We aren't prepared. Can we be just friends and just see how far this goes? Because I don't think as a country we are in the state to accept this kind of commitment. As much as we want to, we just don't feel ready yet. It's not you, Syrian refugees. It's us. Well, I hope you understand.
But this is not us, Greg. We are a country that is compassionate. We are a country.
I am saying
no.
I just said that.
And let me just say,
we're looking for a bad breakup here.
I don't understand why
with
Republican candidates are in fact stirring up fear and xenophobia in the United States.
You just proved my point.
I don't understand.
If you were concerned about your loved ones, that's not xenophobia.
Yes, it is.
No,
it is. Because there's no justification. If I say to you, hey,
there's
Greg,
no justification.
watch out for that big guy coming up behind you, and there's nobody there, you say, hey, Juan.
This is from Juan. This is from Juan, who on a plane was worried about Muslims on a plane and lost his job.
After 9/11,
how was after Paris different?
Oh, because, Greg, when we're talking about refugees, there are statistics available. There's very provable, concrete facts that say since 2011, half of the refugees are children, right?
Yes.
Half are adults over 60. Only 2% are
now?
what they call combat age
How about
males.
now?
So what you
How
get
many
is...
do you need?
Right. All I'm saying is we have a strict vetting procedure. We know how this is done. It takes over 2 years before they even get to U.S. soil. And yet, if you listen to this talk about only Christians, not Muslims... It sounds as if you're just saying, we don't have time for anybody.
But not everybody is saying that. What we're talking about is we need to slow this down. We don't want to end up like Europe.
Look what happened to France.
We actually have to be deliberate about this. Again, I'm talking about a relationship that takes time. That doesn't make me xenophobic. And President Obama insulted every American who is worrying about their child and about their spouse who goes to work every day. He may have been directing it at Republicans, but he insulted everybody. He was arrogant. He's a grad student who never graduated.
When Christie says, "Oh, we can't accept any orphans under," I mean, what is going on here? This sounds to me like people who are just like knee-jerk reaction.
All right, so there you heard basically at the end it completely degenerated, but I agree with pretty much everything that Gutfield said. If you are someone who thinks that we need to put the brakes on this stuff and say, can we just make sure that before we do anything too rash and too crazy, that these people that are coming over here do not want to kill us? Because you'll notice that he threw around numbers from 2011. What is this, 2015 now? So you're going to use 4-year-old data to prove your point? Is that because you know as well as I do that the demographics from 2015 don't fit that narrative anymore? Because we've had how many countless unknown folks between the ages of like 13 and 40 flooding across our borders for the last year. Does anybody remember how there was all these stories in the news about all of these people coming up from Honduras and Central America and coming through Mexico, and Mexico even took down their guard towers on their southern border and helped people get here? Yeah, does anybody remember them? Because I remember them. I remember there being talk of refugees from those countries staying in our Air Force bases here in Oklahoma and some in Texas. So here's my question. What happened to all of those refugees? While we're focusing on the Syrian refugees and whether or not we need them here, how many other people are coming across our porous border? Why is it every other country in the world can make decisions as to what they choose to do on their borders, and we hold no judgment whatsoever against them? Everybody talks about the Statue of Liberty like we have always had this lax immigration policy. There were times in this country's history that no one was allowed to come in here, but nobody talks about those. They point to the Statue of Liberty, and they give me your tired, your huddled masses yearning to be free. Okay, I get that. This is the land of the free, the home of the brave, the place for opportunity. Everybody that's not in this country thinks the streets are paved with gold, and you know why? Because even our poorest people in this country, unless you're a homeless vet, live better than the folks in Africa, for the most part. They live better than the folks in Syria, for most part. So do we begrudge them coming here? No, not really. We just want them to do so properly. We don't necessarily want them declaring refugee status and running from their own country and leaving us to clean up the mess. 4 million refugees. 4. So far that we've recruited and trained to try to take back their own country. I mean, come on. I'm as big a fan of action blow-up movies like The Expendables as the next guy. But when is the last time you actually saw a team of 4 to 6 people go in and completely take over a country, even a small one for that matter, without it being a Hollywood movie? But yet, because we want to keep our doors and windows locked, we're the monsters? So this is my point to every single one of you out there that are listening, and I know that I have liberal trolls and haters that listen to this show. I understand that. I accept it. It's part of what I do. It's part of what I have to deal with. So this is my response to folks like you and Juan Williams. If you're going to tell us how we need to walk the walk and talk the talk, then you need to start letting all the homeless people into your house. You need to feed them. You need to clothe them. What? You don't want to practice on a small scale what you tell us we need to practice on a large scale? Oh, lucky we don't have the webcam working right now, because you'd see my Home Alone shocked face. All of you hypocritical idiots that want to stand there and say that we need to take care of the world. We need to be the ones that will be there when nobody else will. And yet you also at the same time say that we don't need to go into other countries and impose our beliefs on them. Yet it's okay for us to bring everybody from other countries here and have them try to impose their beliefs on us. Because here's the thing that nobody's talking about when it comes to the Muslim population. For the biggest majority of them, they do not assimilate. They do not assimilate because they already believe that their belief system is the right one, so they have no need of assimilation. They are about to start giving you one of 2 choices. Assimilate, also including conversion, or die. Those times are coming, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. I will not go down that road quietly. I will not go down that road quickly, but at some point we will get there because we have to. There's no way around it. If what I believe is true, and in my heart I believe it is, at some point there will be a war between Christianity and Islam, because there has to be. There has to be. And it's going to happen. It's already happening. And here's the thing that nobody else is talking about, so I figure what the heck, I might as well. We have all of these Christian refugees that have been fleeing Syria now for months. Our doors have been closed to them. Our borders have been locked down to them. But we have to take the Islamic refugees. Why is one group so much more important than the other? I'll tell you why. This is a continuation of everything that he's tried to do for the last 7 years. He told everybody what he was going to do, but nobody was listening. He told the world on national television on multiple occasions that he was going to fundamentally transform America. The only way to fundamentally transform America is to bring her to her knees. And if you don't think that's exactly what he's trying to do, I want you to take a really long, hard look at some of the things that we have glossed over, and nobody's put together the big picture, so let me try to help you do it. We had the gun running out of Mexico. We had the Benghazi incident, where the part that nobody's talking about is several high-ranking generals were relieved of duty because they were still going to try to provide aid to the folks that were fighting there, and their subordinates took control of their command situations and relieved them of duty. We've had countless terrorist incidents. Nobody's really talking about those. The Boston bombing, anybody remember that one? You know, we've got this great extensive vetting process, and there's no way terrorists are ever getting into our country. Boston bombing. Oh, I know. Somebody's about to do it, so let me just beat you to it. But Rick, what about Timothy McVeigh? He wasn't a Muslim. But you, sit down and shut up. What is that, one out of all of the recent attacks? I mean, let's be real here, folks. Can we just be real for a minute? Is it that hard to do for you to admit that maybe, just maybe, we need to put the brakes on some stuff and lock up the borders till we figure out what the heck's going on with the rest of the world? I mean, you know how many times I'm so tired of hearing the same argument? Because look, I don't know the heart and the mind of Muslims. I don't know who's a moderate and I don't know who's not a moderate. We're not going to know until we see what they're going to do. So I'm sorry if I'm going to err on the side of caution and lump all of them into the potential hostile category. Does that make me a dick? Maybe. Does it make me worried about my family? Yes, 100%. Hell yes. So why is that not okay? And before anybody starts screaming and yelling, let's remember an analogy. So you have a bowl of grapes in your fridge. You get the bowl of grapes out. All of a sudden somebody calls you and says, hey, you know, when I was cleaning earlier, when I was trying to wash off some stuff, and somehow some rat poison got on about 5 or 6 of those grapes. So it's probably a good idea to go ahead and throw them out. Now remember, this is a bowl full of grapes, so there's probably maybe 30, 40, 50 grapes in this bowl. I mean, it's a pretty big bowl. Somebody just told you that while they were cleaning some stuff up, they accidentally got poison on about 5 or 6 grapes and just kind of put them back in the bowl before they thought about it. And went on about their business, came back, saw the bowl was on the counter, so they put it back in the fridge. So my question to you, are you going to go through and bite every grape to try to see which ones are poison before your kids get a hold of them? Or are you just going to throw them out and start over? Yes, it's a simplistic illustration, but it's not a dishonest one. There are times when we need to err on the side of caution. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. Simply put, we need to make sure that we have a way to vet the people that come here. And despite what Juan Williams said about this extensive vetting process, look again at the Boston bombing scenario. How many other attacks like that have we stopped that nobody's talking about? And yet we're supposed to believe that we have this amazing vetting process and that everything's going to be okay. Well, you know, I'm a firm believer that everything's going to be okay every time I get in a car. But I get a ticket if I don't put a seatbelt on. I've been a firm believer that everything's going to be okay when I get into a car accident. Yet newer cars have things like airbags, passive restraint systems, seat belts, roll liners. So why is it that in every aspect of our lives we are taught, trained, and belittled if we do not put safety first, except when it comes to the health of our country? I'm confused. Because when you look at the conservative arguments for things, it's basically the healthy approach. Take abortion, for example. Everybody knows the genie's out of the bottle. We know it's not going to go away. We're just asking that it not be birth control. That it be used only when absolutely positively necessary, and it be used as Roe v. Wade in the original language of it intended, which was safe, legal, and rare, because nobody wants a scared 16-year-old girl who was raped shoving a coat hanger up her woo. I mean, come on. Nobody wants that. But we don't want Planned Parenthoods on every corner like 7-Elevens either. And we sure don't want news stories breaking out about Planned Parenthood shoving fetal tissue in mop closets because it didn't have anywhere else to store it. You, the same people that are throwing around what would Jesus do when it comes to refugees, are supporting businesses with atrocious practices that are slaughtering children. Not only slaughtering children, but selling off the parts and putting them in really weird places when they can't find anywhere to sell them. But you're running around shouting, what would Jesus do, and quoting Bible scriptures because we don't want to take in refugees. What the hell is the matter with you people? I'm so tired of it because I see it every single day. I have friends on Facebook that post this stupid crap about conservatives. The only people that think fetuses are children, but refugee children are not people. Nobody's saying that the refugee children are not people. We're asking you where the hell the refugee children are, because they're not coming here. There's no pictures of refugee children flooding across the border. There's no women trying to get here. It's all men. When it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. This is not normal. Because Juan is right. Up until 2011, the majority of the people that were coming over as refugees were women and children or old people. That's all changed since 2012. And it's getting worse, not better. And yet we're just supposed to pretend that everything is okay. I cannot and I will not sit around and pretend everything is okay. I cannot and I will not watch this country go up in flames while I do nothing about it. That is not how I'm wired. That's not who I am. And I know most of you that are listening to this program right now that are listening to it either live or rebroadcast on one of the affiliates or on one of the plethora of podcast places, or you feel the same way I do. Why else would you be listening to the show unless you're one of the trolls that likes to make fun of me? Hey, be my guest. Take your shots. Nobody's harder on me than I'm ever going to be. You can ask my friends. Self-deprecation, yeah, that's my thing. It's just how I roll. So take your shots. If I like them, I'll give you a crap bag. If I don't, you probably won't hear from me. But what happened? Where did common sense go in this country? Since when is common sense a sin? I don't understand it anymore. I really, truthfully, and honestly do not understand how it is that we have a president who can basically make fun of an entire group of people when 50-some-odd% of the American people tell you in a poll they do not want refugees from Syria coming into this country, and yet you just gave them the smackdown. The smackdown. Let's play it one more time on the way out the door, shall we? Let's remind the world and all of these liberal fools exactly what the president thinks of about 50-some-odd% of the American population.
These are the same folks oftentimes who suggest that they're so tough that just talking to Putin or staring down ISIL or using some additional rhetoric somehow is going to solve the problems out there. But apparently they're scared of widows and orphans coming into the United States of America as part of our tradition of compassion.
All right, cut it. I've heard enough of the guy. Okay, so, just back to that little point, and then we really do got to get out of here. I'm actually over my time. So, we as a group, as conservatives, we're the folks that hate widows and orphans. We're the guys that like to stand around and stare across the table at Putin and use a lot of tough talk and big words. This guy's answer to problem areas and bad situations is nap time and golf. On that note, folks, I am out of here. We are officially over our time, which it doesn't really matter that much anymore because we are not the first show of the night anymore, but the last. Doesn't change the fact that I really have some things that I need to get done because I have to get stuff prepped for tomorrow for Finding Common Ground and also get the stuff put together for the Red State show on Sunday. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in and has hung out with me on this very late edition of America Off the Rails. Again, it is Friday night in America, and if you, like me, don't want a whole country full of Syrian refugees when we're not sure what it is they want to do once they get here, maybe you should say something to the president. Have a great night, folks. I'm out.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
You're listening to Rebooting Liberty Radio Network. Compelling and entertaining talk. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, liberals, why don't you try rooting for your own damn country for a change?